In this video, we are going to learn how to solve these chemistry problems under electrolysis. So guys, we have about 8 to 10 repeated questions to practice in this video. Let's get started. The first question I have here says, which of the following will produce oxygen and hydrogen during its electrolysis using platinum electrode? We have concentrated hydrochloric acid, dilute sodium chloride solution, glucose solution, aqueous copper 2 tetraoxosulfate 4. So the right option is option B, which is dilute sodium chloride solution. Very important, guys. Next repeat question will be this one. It says, if two metallic ions of the same concentration migrate to graphite cathode, the one that would be preferentially discharged is the one that has we have option A, greater stability in solution, stronger tendency to accept electrons, lower electrical, the sentence is not complete, a smaller mass. The right option is option B, the one that has stronger tendency to accept electrons. Okay, so that's for this question. The next question will be this one. It says the quantity of electricity required to discharge 1 mole of univalent ion is, so the right option is option. Okay, so the next question will be this one. It says which of the following occurs when a solution of copper 2 tetraoxosulfate 6 is electrolyzed using copper electrodes. So we have the anode increases in mass, the blue color of the solution fades gradually, the cathode becomes coated with copper. Yes, that's the right answer. Okay, next question will be this one. It says oxidation takes place at the anode during electrolysis because the anode is deficient in protons, is deficient in electrons, has attraction for positive ions, has excess electrons. So the right option is option D, because it has excess electrons. Next question will be this one. It says the reaction that occurs at the anode when copper 2 tetraoxosulfate 6 is electrolyzed using carbon electrode is, okay, so looking at the reaction that occurs at the anode, remember oxidation takes place at the anode and anions migrate to the anode, whereas cations migrate to the cathode. Okay, so the reaction that will basically occur at the anode will be, so and when it is using carbon electrodes, so the reaction that will occur will be this option we have here, option C. Hydroxyl atom we lose 4 electrons to form water and oxygen gas. Okay, so that's the reaction that will occur. The right option is option C. Alright, so remember this copper 2 tetraoxosulfate 6 is an aqueous solution. If you check, we have an aqueous solution, so because of the presence of water, the hydroxyl ions will migrate to the anode. So when it gets the anode, the reaction now will be this hydrogen ion will lose 4 electrons to form water and oxygen gas. So that's it for this question, option C. Next repeated question will be this one. It says what is a product at the positive electrodes? So we have, this is lead bromide. Okay, so it will be, remember anions migrate to the anode whereas cations migrate to the cathode. So what's the product of the positive electrode? The positive electrode is the anode, right, in electrolytic cell. That means the anion migrate to the anode. The anion here is bromine. Alright, so the right option is option A. So the next question is this one. It says what amount of electricity is required to deposit 1 mole of aluminium from a solution of aluminium chloride, say to be 3 farad days. Okay, option C. Last question for end this video will be this one. They say what happens at the anode during electrolysis? The cation is oxidized. No, reduction is what occurs at the cathode. Anion loses electrons, cation is discharged, anion is oxidized. So the right option is option C. Cation is discharged because cations migrate to the cathode to get discharged, whereas anions migrate to the anode to get discharged. So the right option is option C. Guys, this is basically you can do problems involving electrolysis for your chemistry practice with about 8 to 10 repeated questions for this topic. Hope you learned something interesting from the video. Let's call the video, guys. If you are new to this channel, ensure that you are subscribed to this channel by hitting the subscribe button for more of these videos. So like, share, and comment on this video. Tell me how you feel for what I've learned from this video. If you seem to have any specific questions to ask regarding what I've talked about in this video, feel free to leave a question in the comment section below and I'll be sure to give you a response. In this video, we're going to learn how to solve these chemistry problems under electrochemical cells. So guys, we have about 8 to 10 repeated questions to practice with in this video. Let's get started. The first question I have here says, which of the following substance is the dry like cell? We have muslin bag, carbon rod, zinc container, the seal. So right option this question is option C, which is zinc container. Okay, so the next repeated question will be this one. It says, which of the following cells produce electrical energy from the chemical reactions? So we have lead acid battery, dry cell, Daniel cell, electrolytic cell. So the right answer to this question will be the one that has lead acid battery, dry cell, and Daniel cell. So we have it to be option D. So electrolytic cell does not produce electrical energy from chemical reactions, so it's an exception. The next question will be this one. It says, an arrangement of two different metals in aqueous solutions of their salts to produce an electronic current is known as. We have activity series, electrochemical cell, thermocool, voltmeter. The right option is option B, electrochemical cell. Okay, so that's it for this question. The next question will be this one. It says, which of the following statements about the cell notation is correct? So in this cell notation, this magnesium atom, magnesium ion, represent the anode. This copper ion and copper atom represent the cathode. So let's check from the option. Copper is the anode, no. The double line represents the electrodes, no. Magnesium is reduced, no. Magnesium is the anode, yes. So the right option is option D. Okay, so that's it for this question. You know that in electrolytic cell, oxidation occurs at the anode, whereas reduction occurs at the cathode. Very important, guys. So the next question will be this one. It says, in dry like cell, manganese 4 oxide acts as, we have a reducing agent, catalyst, binding agent, depolarizer. The right option is option D, depolarizer. Alright, very important. The next question will be this one. So guys, before I attend this question, if you are new to this channel, ensure that you subscribe to this channel by hitting the subscribe button for more of these videos. We really appreciate this. This question says, if the oxidation potential of magnesium and aluminium are these volts and these volts respectively, then magnesium would be. So to do this, guys, the answer will be, let's say option A, not replace aluminium, no. Be replaced by aluminium, no. Replace aluminium, yes, this will be the right answer. So if the oxidation potential of magnesium and aluminium 2.37 volts and 1.66 volts respectively, the magnesium would replace aluminium. So the right option is option C. Alright, the reason magnesium will replace aluminium is that in the electrochemical series, so magnesium will come before aluminium. So magnesium is more reactive than aluminium. Okay, so the next question will be this one. It says, the main difference between a primary cell and a secondary cell is that a primary cell can be recharged but secondary cell cannot. No. Is an electrolytic cell but the secondary is not. No. Contains electrodes but the secondary cell does not. No. Cannot be recharged but the secondary cell can. Yes, still the right option is option D. The main difference between primary cell and secondary cell is that primary cell cannot be recharged but the secondary cell can. Alright, so next question will be this one. It says, what mass of copper will be deposited by a current of 1 ampere passing for Now than 65 seconds through copper 2 tetraoxosulfate 4 solution. Okay, so we have these parameters: copper, the mass number, and the number of quantity of electricity. 1 farad equals this 96,500 coulombs. So let's make a calculator and solve this. So guys, you know that from first law of electrolysis states that the mass of an element discharged during electrolysis is directly proportional to the quantity of electricity passing through it. So we are asked to find the mass of copper. So guys, to solve this question, how you're going to do it will be to get the mass. You're going to do the quantity of electricity times the mass number of copper, yeah, which is 63.5 over number of coulombs. So the quantity of electricity will be, we have 1 ampere times 965 seconds, alright, then times the mass number of copper, we have it to be 63.5, then over, we are dealing with, so the number of coulombs, since it's copper ion is going to gain 2 electrons to form copper atom. Alright, so this shows that this is going to give us 96,500 times 2. So it's going to gain 2 electrons to form copper atom. Let's press equal to see the outputs. Press SD. So we have it to be 0.3175. If we are leaving it to 3 decimal places, it will be 0.318 grams. So the mass is option B. Alright, 0.318 grams. So that's it for this question. The next question will be this one. It says aqueous copper 2 tetraoxosulfate 6 was electrolyzed using the following pairs of electrodes. In which case was there a decrease in the mass of the anode? So where you will see a decrease in mass of the anode will be where cathode and the anode graphite platinum node, cathode anode copper, cathode anode graphite, cathode anode platinum. So the right option will be cathode anode copper. Alright, so option B. So this basically can do problems involving electrochemical sets for your chemistry practice with about 8 to 10 repeated questions for this video. Hope you learned something interesting from the video. Let's go to the video, guys. If you are new to this channel, once make sure that you are subscribed to this channel by hitting the subscribe button for more of these videos. Also like, share and comment on this video. Tell me how you feel for what I learned from this video. If you seem to have any specific questions to ask regarding what I talked about in this video, feel free to leave a question in the comment section below and I'll be sure to give you a response. In this video, we're going to learn how to solve these chemistry problems under oxidizing and reducing agent. Let's get started. The first question I have here says chlorine water is used as a bleaching agent because it is, we have option A, an acidic solution, a reducing solution, a reducing agent, an oxidizing agent, and alkaline solution. So the right option is option C, which is an oxidizing agent. Okay, so that's why chlorine water is used as a bleaching agent. So that's for this question. The next question will be this one. It says, in which of the following reactions is sulfur 4 oxide acting as an oxidizing agent? So looking at this first reaction, no, it can't be this first reaction because here the manganese 4 oxide is being reduced by sulfur 4 oxide, so it's not being oxidized. In reaction 2, we have triosonitrate 5 acid is being reduced, so it's not being oxidized by sulfur 4 oxide. In this reaction 3, this ion 3 chloride is being reduced by sulfur 4 oxide to iron tin chloride, so it can't be this. The last option we have here, this hydrogen sulfide gas is being oxidized by sulfur oxide into water, 2 moles of water and 3 moles of sulfur. So right option is option D. Okay, so in this reaction below, sulfur oxide is acting as an oxidizing agent. Okay, so that's it for this question. The next repeated question is this one. It says a reducing agent is expected to react dechlorize acidified iron 2 tetrasulfate 6 solution, liberate chlorine gas from a chloride, dechloride acidified potassium manganese 7 solution, liberate carbon dioxide from sodium hydrogen triazole carbonate 4. So the right option to this question is option C, the chloride acidified potassium manganese 7 solution. So that's it for this question. The next repeated question will be this one. It says, what is the reducing agent in a reaction represented by the following equation? So the reducing agent basically will be our hydrogen sulfide, because it reduces iron 3 to iron 2. So the right option is option B. The last question I have here before I end this video with this one. It says, consider the following reaction equation. We have bromine gas reacts with 2 moles of potassium iodide to give 2 moles of potassium bromide and iodine gas. Bromine is reacting as, so from this reaction we have here, bromine is reacting as oxidizing agent, option C. So guys, this is basically I can do problems involving oxidizing and reducing agent chemistry problems. Hope you learned something interesting from the video. Let's go to the video, guys. If you're new to this channel, ensure that you are subscribed to this channel by hitting the subscribe button for more of these videos. Also like, share and comment on this video. Tell me how you feel for what you learned from this video. If you seem to have any specific questions to ask regarding what I talked about in this video, feel free to leave your question in the comment section below, and I'll be sure to give you a response.